force that feeds their children too.
The Old Hunters is the first and possibly last DLC for Bloodborne, and it was announced this week during TGS. And if you were going to TGS, if you're in Tokyo this week, you will have gotten hands-on with the game, and our own Martin Robinson did just that. I didn't, because someone has to hold the camera and be lame. So Martin, now you have to tell us all about it.
It's been a really weird one, actually, because it was announced at the conference on Tuesday.
Yes.
I've lost all track of time. Announced at the conference on Tuesday, in true method From Software Soul style. It was like super mysterious.
Yeah.
It's just like, here's some new DLC, and we saw a trailer, and it was like, oh, that didn't tell us much.
Didn't tell us very much. I mean, you could rewind it about 200 times, which I'm sure lots of people on the internet have already done and gleaned some information. But
yeah, and then obviously new DLC for Bloodborne's a good thing, because Bloodborne is a very good thing. And yeah, but then we got to play it ourselves, and even then it still was a bit of a mystery. Played it this morning, and yeah, I mean, it was a really short area, kind of blasted through it in no time whatsoever. It was very easy as well.
So there was a reason I said possibly last, because you actually spoke to one of the Sony producers on Bloodborne.
Yeah, like basically, having been a bit confused about everything about it, like how long it was, how it was actually going to work, where does it fit into the story, what's actually new about it, everything about it basically, other than the fact it's new DLC. I managed to get an interview with the producer from Sony Japan, who managed to enlighten me basically about all of that stuff and give me all the details, which was quite useful.
And now can you please enlighten us?
Basically, they had originally planned to do 2 DLC packs for this. But then at some point in production, they realised it would be better if they just lumped it all together into one big one. It seems like quite a sizable pack, from what I understand.
Yeah.
I was told it's 3 areas, and considering I think the main Bloodborne game was 13 areas. He said they're of a similar size.
Oh, right.
And I'm going to pretend I'm doing some maths off the top of my head, but I basically just did it on a calculator. Like, Bloodborne takes like 35, 40 hours
Roughly,
to complete, yeah. And so using those kind of maths, this is about like 8 hours worth of content.
No, that's not bad.
That's good. It's kind of on par with what From Software's done before, I think.
So that's pretty good. I mean, my initial reaction was like, oh, we only get 1 DLC, but when you think about it, obviously that means, it's good for us because you only have to pay for 1 expansion. And this one is going to be priced $11.99 in the UK, and it will launch on the 24th of November.
Yep.
And then there will be a revised physical copy of the original game with the DLC included, and that will launch in December. So yeah, that's pretty good. And I guess one of the main selling points, if you will, of the new DLC is new weapons.
Yep.
Did you get to try out any of those?
Yeah, I tried. There are 10 new weapons, around 10 new weapons. That's for both left hand and right hand. Yeah, I did, but it was a weird demo actually. The new weapons are quite cool, but it was a really short demo.
Right.
Like a short part of one of the areas, and they toned down the difficulty loads as well.
Yeah, when I was watching you, it did actually look like you were breezing through it relatively easily.
Yeah, I was breezing through it, and also I was playing like an idiot as well, because it's a common thing in Japan for X and circle buttons to be crossed over. In menus, and I didn't realise they did that in games as well. So basically, roll and sprint was on X, which really threw me. Which is why, if you're watching some of the footage, it totally explains why I'm really awful, not just the fact that I can't play games. But like the boss as well.
Who I believe is called Ludwig.
He is called Ludwig, well remembered. Yeah, it's just absolutely breezed through that. But apparently half his moveset's missing in the demo.
Why would they do that?
Just because it's for the show floor. And like, we know famously these games don't lend themselves to the show floors very well, because you just get killed, and then you just you can't. The learning curve is too steep to make it work in a show floor. So they made like a show floor special version where all the enemies were dumbed down, the movesets were halved. But it's weird though, because they did that and then didn't explain to anybody what was in it, and so I've seen some impressions of it, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's really short and it's really easy, so it looks rubbish."
Yeah,
it's actually like, it's just. Yeah, they just didn't do a good job of explaining it. Yeah,
it is an odd thing to do. But I mean, do you think that the reason the demo was so short is because this DLC is actually set during the main game, right? And
it's actually, so basically the setting itself is a nightmare. It's you'll be able to access it at some point in the first half of the game. You need to. There's a certain number of criteria you need to meet to get it. I don't know what those are just yet. Obviously, they want to keep those a mystery. And I was told the difficulty itself is going to be on par with like the last half of the game though.
Oh, okay.
So you can access it quite early, but it's going to be quite tough. So if you do stumble upon it early on in the game, you'll get whooped.
It expands on a bit of the lore from the original game, so do you think that's why they kept it fairly light in the demo?
Yeah, they want to keep the story stuff because, like, obviously this is a series which kind of trades on Enigma. I say series, it's a one-off, but obviously the Souls games, we kind of tie them all together. It trades on Enigma, and it'd be a shame to ruin that. And so I think they kept it as brief as possible, and basically it was just a really narrow look at 3 new weapons. We were given 3 builds. With 3 new weapons.
Yeah, there was one called the Charred Man, there was one called the Mency Scholar, which sounds slightly gynecological, and there was another one. And you got to try 2 of those, but you didn't get to try the one with the bow and arrow, which is
no, that's
right?
because that's the coolest weapon. The second one had a dagger which doubles up as a bow and arrow, and so it doesn't use a gun. It's based on a character Simon, one of the hunters Simon, who apparently just didn't like guns at all, and so decided it's best to fashion himself a dagger that turned into a bow and arrow. That was really cool, but unfortunately I didn't get to play it. What I did get to play was a katana that doubles up as a whip.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I never got on with the whip and cane from the first game.
Neither did I.
It's got a really weird like staccato rhythm to it, which I never got my head around. And
there's one like with I didn't know the last one. It looked like a bit like the saw cleaver.
It looked just like the saw cleaver, and to be honest, it looked so much like the saw cleaver that I found it hard to differentiate it in the 2 minutes I had to play it. So, but there's loads of other stuff as well. There's a time bomb you can use in it. The Mensis Scholar we used at the end. He had a load of new spells which are new to it, which I think I only used one of them at the end when I was like, "What's this?" And it turns out that was one of the new spells. Yeah, so there's loads of cool stuff in there. As I say, these games don't lend themselves to show floors very well, and so I think it's a lot more exciting than you might get the impression from some people out there.
Well, it's still early days, so hopefully the next demo won't quite be so easy.
The next demo will be when it'll be on our hard drives, I think.
Yeah, I think
probably
so.
the next time we're going to see it is when it's out, 'cause it's soon.
It's very soon. So yeah, better start saving up.